Our story takes place in 1837, when William Lyon Mackenzie and his supporters tried to capture Toronto and overthrow the government. Mackenzie had been an elected member of the legislature of Ontario, then known as Upper Canada. After years of trying to bring about reform through constitutional means, he decided that only armed rebellion could end the system of corruption that prevailed in Upper Canada. The governor, Francis Bond Head, had sent his regular troops to Quebec to help quell a rebellion there, so he only had small militia units available to defend Upper Canada. In December 1837, William Lyon Mackenzie seized the opportunity and marched his supporters down Yonge Street. They gathered at Montgomery's Tavern, which is now at Yonge and Eglinton, and awaited reinforcements before moving on Toronto. The small garrison, including militia from the Gore district, stopped his march at the Battle of Montgomery's Tavern on Yonge Street. One of the militia officers was William Chisholm of Oakville. We met William Chisholm back in the War of 1812, and after the war he had settled in Nelson Township. It's interesting to note that Chisholm had been elected as a reformer to the legislature, representing Halton, and had also worked with William Lyon Mackenzie on Mackenzie's newspaper. By 1837, however, Chisholm had rejected the radicalism of Mackenzie, and at the Battle of Montgomery's Tavern, he led one of the 3 columns that routed the rebels. His son George was with him at the battle, and George, seen in this photograph, would go on to become Oakville's first mayor. We have George Chisholm's scarlet uniform on display here in the museum. Following the battle, the rebels fled, with many escaping to the United States. A group stopped and occupied Navy Island, which is upstream from Niagara Falls in the middle of the Niagara River. From there they set up a provisional government for what they called the Republic of Canada. To force the rebels out, Canadian militia captured the rebels' supply ship, the Caroline, and set it on fire in the river. Edward Zeeland of Oakville is said to have set it alight, and George Chisholm was there as well, taking the ship's flag as a souvenir. The militia Upper Canada had conflicted views of Mackenzie and the rebels. Captain Thomas McGrath of the Arundel Dragoons, shown here in a photograph, accused his own militia unit of sympathizing with the rebels and arrested them as they headed to Toronto. He is said to have declared that suspected rebels should be hanged first and tried afterwards. In contrast, when Mackenzie's defeated rebels were fleeing, Joseph Standish of Stewarttown hid his rebel neighbor, Alan McPherson, in a sugar shanty in his woods. During the day, Joseph and his sons, including John Standish, shown here with his wife Margaret, joined the hunt for rebels, thrusting their pitchforks into haylofts, while his daughter took food to the fugitive. When asked why he did it, Joseph explained, "He would have done the same for me." Of course, Mackenzie failed as a revolutionary, but the campaign for responsible government he championed would ultimately lead to the system of government enshrined in the new nation of Canada in 1867.